Hello, dear viewers. I am a global nationalist. I support nationalism in my country, India, and in all countries around the globe. Today, I want to talk about Sri Lanka and the economic crisis it finds itself in, and how this crisis has been caused by China and India's coming to help Sri Lanka. Um, Basically, this goes back to last decade, the 2010s, when during which China gave Sri Lanka several loans for building infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka. For example, the Hambantota port. And however, these loans were not uh, feasible for Sri Lanka to undertake. They did not have the ability to pay them back. However, they still took them, and uh, eventually, for some of the projects like the Hambantota port, Sri Lanka could not repay the loan and had to give the port for to China for lease for 99 years. So this is an example of how China is using debt to colonize other countries and take their resources and territory and make them subordinate to them. Other examples of this are the amount of debt that Sri Lanka owes to China, which I'll show here. So here we can see that according to government data, China accounted for about 10% of Sri Lanka's $35 billion dollars of foreign debt to April 2021, and China has lent over $5 billion dollars for projects including roads and airport and ports. So we can see how much China has lent to Sri Lanka for predatory reasons, and therefore I think that Sri Lanka has to stop taking loans from China and start developing its infrastructure on its own without taking loans, or maybe they can take investments but not loans from other countries. And India has come in and has given granted financial assistance of over $900 million dollars to Sri Lanka to overcome the forex crisis. I completely support this. I think this is a good move by Sri Lanka to take aid from India, because this amount will help it repay the loans that it got from China. And this isn't something that Sri Lanka can't pay back. Sri Lanka will be able to pay back. It's not a predatory loan. So I think it's a good decision for them to borrow money from India. It also raises their forex reserves, which is doubled to $3 billion from being down to $1.5 billion by December, or sufficient for just a month's imports. And this has caused a lot of problems in Sri Lanka. Has currently experiencing a shortage of almost all essentials due to a shortage of dollars to pay for the imports. Additionally, power cuts are imposed at peak hours as the state power entity is unable to obtain fuel to run turbines. The state fuel entity has stopped oil supplies as the electricity board has large unpaid bills. The only refinery has shut as it was unable to pay dollars for crude imports. So yeah, we can see that Sri Lanka is in a grave economic crisis and a lot of trouble. And I hope that they can find some solution to this. That I think that this has been going on since September when I made my earlier video about it, where they tried to put price controls and tried to increase government regulation over the market. That has not worked. Sri Lanka is still suffering economic problems. Therefore, I think a more capitalist oriented policy would work better. that if they allowed company shops to sell at whatever price they can, and to allow demand and supply to work properly, then inflation would reduce. There would be a better, more accurate price in the marketplace. Production would increase and wages would stabilize. Of course, they need to make sure that there's no bad competition practices and stuff like that, and other wrongful acts. But they should allow more freedom to the market. It will help start increase growth in the economy, which is necessary for them to be able to raise more taxes, which will help them repay their debt. And hopefully, they can repay most of their debt, and they can start funding their own projects with their own money and without seeking loans from other countries. And I'm glad that they're turning to India for help. India is a much more reliable partner than China, but I still think that they should depend on themselves first and foremost, and not any other country, including a friendly country like India. So, yeah, I wish good luck to Sri Lanka's government and the people of Sri Lanka. If you want to see a previous video on this playlist of nationalism in South Asia, click here. If you want to see my previous video on this channel, click here. If you want to know the sources that I used for this video, click the links in the description below. Thank you for watching. Vande Mataram.